where Jeffrey stopped, you know. This is my 5th Africa Cup of Nations, and I haven't seen a shambolic officiating as I saw last night at the Prince Moulay Abdallah Stadium right here in Rabat. And it's not just me. Everyone is talking about it. What was referee Daniel Laye from Ghana thinking? And first, I don't blame him. I want to use this opportunity to call on the Confederation of African Football to say we cannot build and destroy. At the last AFCON in Cote d'Ivoire, the world stood up for Africa and commended us for what we did with good officiating. How did we come down to this? You have a North African team and a West African team playing a crucial semi-final match, and then you picked a referee from neighboring Ghana just to put the guy under unnecessary pressure. You had a South African as assistant one. You had another South African competent referee in Abongile Tom as video assistant referee. What was CAF thinking? It was all shades of shady acts. And that's what I keep saying, that for football and sports in general in Africa to move forward, we must kill all forms of politics. It was just so clear that the Confederation of African Football wanted Morocco in the final. They should have just played the match. Just call them and say, for putting up a good show and you always host tournaments for Africa, Morocco automatically is in the final. Because that was such a shame. It was disgraceful. At some point, Alex, it will be, guys, you only see what the cameras show you on TV. I was right there. There was a time Eric Shell was like this for like 10 minutes. Persons were wondering, like, what's going on? This was Brahim, a Moroccan player, that the referee already blew his whistle and he kicked the ball. That's one scene referees don't like. He kicked the ball and he didn't give the Moroccan a card. Not one card, not one. That's just clear indication that keep all our players for the final. It's such a shame. It was supposed to be a beautiful game of football. Like tagged it, the final before the final. It's disappointing that we're having this sort of analysis, Coyote.
Clearly lots of disappointment in the air, and you can imagine how Nigerians feel. I mean, you're a sports person, you know how to handle these emotions, but the everyday Nigerian right now who was really holding on to this, at least some sort of joy bringer, now shattered. But really, Austin, let's talk about the play itself. I mean, looking at the stats eventually, overall Nigeria and Morocco tie sort of on possession, but Morocco had more shots on target. And for some people, they say, well, if you look at some of those factors, it looks like Morocco was slightly better than Nigeria on the field of play yesterday. We'll get to the penalties, but the play itself, Austin.
Yes, they were, because they had the support, massive support right there at the stadium. 65,458 spectators watched that match. Coyote, 65,458. The Nigerians in there, plus those of us in the media put together, I don't think we're close to 120. So that, look, it was ear-deafening noise. It was so loud. You know, I could feel it at some point. I had to put on my headphones, you know. So yes, that got to our players. I didn't know that it was going to get to them, because these are big guys who play in Europe, they play in the English Premier League, some have witnessed Champions League football, and I've covered those events, and I know it's loud. In fact, Igogbu said it the other day, you know, when we had the media party, that, look, it's nothing, because I asked them, are you sure you're going to be ready? That crowd, you know, they'll be ferocious with their noise. So yes, Morocco had support 100%, and that pushed their, you know, the players. They've not won. It was Maroc 88. They've not won this competition. They have really suffered. They are looking for it. What am I saying? It's close to 50 years. Morocco looking for this trophy. And they've been doing the same thing with their women. They got so close. In fact, to back finals, South Africa beat them. Then the Super Falcons came, stopped them again to accomplish Mission X. And now with the men, it was all or nothing for them, you know. So they came out full force against Nigeria because to be the best, you must be the best. But what about referee Daniel Lye? Whether or not we agree, football is mental, Coyote. When you see a referee, because these guys are top professional, when they see the way the referee is handling the match, there's no way it's not going to, you know, affect them. As I said, you guys that watched at home, you're always seeing the things that the cameras will show you. At some point, Alex Iwobi was tired of running. Calvin Bassey was complaining endlessly. They were just wondering. Semi Ajayi at one point was just looking at the referee and was what's his name? Victor Osimhen was trying so hard not to, you know, go and confront the referee too bad, and then he gets a card. They were all just being too careful. Coyote, when you play football, it's okay to be careful, but when you are meticulous, it affects almost everything. And that gave the Moroccans, you know, the opportunity to do their things. Yes, they dominated the play, but the Super Eagles showed good mental strength. For all of those things to be happening and you're still playing football, you're holding it, you're taking it beyond 90 minutes down to penalties. And look, when it comes to penalties, it's a game of lottery. That's why I will not criticize any player for, you know, missing a penalty kick. But hey, Morocco, did they do just enough to get to the final? Yes, but if you look at the run of the Super Eagles down to that semi-final, if the officiating was good, I think we would have been seeing a different result.
Well, Austin, I can't ignore, you know, how you keep emphasizing on how bad the officiating was. But if you looked at it critically, it's a Ghanaian, you know, referee that was, you know, on the field of play. How would you attribute it? Is it fear of being on, you know, a host nation soil and, you know, possible attack or something? Or what would you attribute it to?
I think it's everything that comes down to question is, you know, professionalism. First thing first, that's why I call that the Confederation of African Football. They shouldn't have given that to referee Daniel Lye from Ghana. It's the wrongest call ever. Give it to a South African referee. As I said, the assistant referee, a South African, was there. Abongile Tom, let me tell you a quick story about Abongile Tom. He's a core professional. During the World Cup playoffs, Coyote and Jeffrey, I'm not sure if you guys can remember, FIFA gave us Abongile Tom in that playoff match against Ghana. And we started protesting. I was making videos every day. I was calling out FIFA every day on Sports Tonight. That no, you cannot give us a South African referee because South Africa was in Group C with Nigeria. And then they gave us assistance from Benin Republic. And we defeated Benin Republic in our last group match to get to the playoff. But Abongile Tom came with all of the professionalism in the world and gave top-class officiating that at the end of the day, we started commending him.
Oh, that was
he was
right.
With the
that was against Gabon,
referee.
Austin. Against Gabon, right? Against Gabon, right?
Against Gabon, yeah. You know, and he handled it so well because now he has seen that, oh, the world is watching. And don't forget that South African Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, Gaten Mackenzie, had called out Nigeria, that he hates Nigeria and he doesn't want Nigeria to be at the World Cup. So we said, no. With those hate comments, we don't want a South African referee. But man came on and he did a great job and we commended him. Now, with CAF, knowing that that stadium will be red 100%, they will be making so much noise, it will definitely get to the referee. Not one yellow card. Victor Osimhen got injured. Semi Ajayi got injured. Our players got kicked here and there. Alex Iwobi got tired of falling and standing up. Not one yellow card. And I told you that scene that referees don't like players doing that. After they make a call, you now kick the ball away. Easily. All my years of covering sports, you must get a yellow. He didn't give one yellow card, Bukola. So that tells you that the man too was under serious pressure. Do you know when I was walking out of the stadium last night, I left the stadium at about 3 a.m. The crowd that I still saw, I was saying, if Nigeria had won this match, gracious goodness, I can't even imagine what would have gone wrong. But We thank God for everything. Yes, there was pressure on the Ghanaian referee. He cannot deny that, and I'm calling on FIFA and the Confederation of African Football to question him, look at his reports again, because we must hold the virtues of the game. The game is fair play. It's not win at all costs, and the world is watching Africa. And if we say it's time for Africa, we must start being the shining lights.
Yeah, also, I can imagine it's difficult to walk away from what that referee did. And I totally agree with you, because I was wondering, I said, and I must commend the Super Eagles, because one of the things we advised was you need to hold your temperament together. You need to be measured in your responses. So perhaps that was spoken to them over and over, knowing how some of them can flip. Osimhen, all of these guys, if they flip, everything would have turned sour. So somehow, I don't know why people like, is it Gamane? People like Kabi, all of these guys were getting injured. They were looking at the referee. I was actually wondering what exactly was going on. I was telling Kyle, I said, I hardly talk on social media. I just go consume. But I was tweeting. I was writing because I could see what was going on. So given what has played out, the deed has been done. What is the way forward right now as far as officiating is concerned? Because I don't want to blame the Eagles too much. The only part where, and I kind of agree with you that perhaps the Moroccans have seen that there is a tilting in terms of concession or favor, if you will, towards them. They were very aggressive because they know they could do anything and get away with it. When the Super Eagles do whatever or don't even do anything, and then boom, the referee gets to them. What is the way forward as far as this beautiful game is concerned? And what should we be looking forward to as the future of the Super Eagles?
First, the Confederation of African Football, they need to be sincere with themselves. For Africa's football to do well, we must make those reforms with officiating. I keep telling Patrice Motsepe, you're pushing for the business, for a proper business environment. It's trying to commercialize African football. The world just watched what referee Daniel Lyer did last night. How are you going to invest into Africa's football with such terrible shambolic, it reeks of unprofessionalism? How can you put money into Africa's football that way? So CAF must have that conversation. Kill politics, take politics out of sports. Sports is so powerful. You can use sports to make this world a better place, but when you put politics into it, you destroy it, you know, and that's what those of us who are big on sports for development, we're calling the world that it's a soft power where people can come and understand that it's not win at all costs, and that most times in our world of sports, it is even when you lose that you gain valuable lessons that can make you pick yourself back up to be a champion. The Confederation of African Football must have that conversation. Then back home, the Nigeria Football Federation. All of those talks that we've been having coming from when we failed to qualify for the 2022 FIFA World Cup, you think it's a joke. It is what you sow, you reap. Right in our face, we're still seeing them. They must sit down and reflect and say, look, if you do not build long term and you're thinking you're just going to jump up and go and win tournaments and you think everything is fine, you're wasting your time. We reached the final of the last AFCON, and we failed to qualify for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. It means we lack structures, we lack systems. This thing is plug and play, Jeffrey. I will never forget when on my way to Qatar for the 2022 FIFA World Cup, I met the backroom staff of the French team, and we got into a conversation, and I said, it's going to be so tough for France. There's no N'Golo Kante, there's no Paul Pogba, there's no this one, there's no that one. I mentioned about 10 key French players that were missing. And I said, Austin, calm down. We've got a system, and it's plug and play. That thing stayed in my head forever. Throughout that competition, I kept hearing his voice. We've got a system. My dear brother, yes, they do have a system. France got to the final. They were this close to winning it against Argentina. It was penalties, like called lottery, that stopped them. They had about 10 key players missing. They build, it's long term. Nigeria Football Federation, that's what we should be doing now, because if you check most of these guys, maybe one more AFCON, then they are gone. And if you do not build, you will still be going round and round and round because it's getting really competitive. They complain about unpaid allowances before they played Algeria. All those things have mental effects. We shouldn't be going through that as a country at this stage with core professionals because they keep depending on Europe to give us talents. They ignore the structures back home. They will never build because they will always think about it that, oh, Nigeria, we've got the population. We'll always pick somebody that Europe has made. Nah. Go and look at our history, Jeffrey, from 1980. How many European or foreign-born players do depend on to win the AFCON? In 1994, how many European or foreign-born players did we rely on? We were building back the academicals, the principal's cup, grassroots football, secondary school football was a thing. That was the structure. That was our system, community football. Coach Clemens Vestov went into the streets to pick players. God bless his soul, the late Coach Stephen Keshi was from St. Finbar's College. That we discovered him into the national team. The principal's cup gave us Joseph Yobo, Dosu Joseph, Daniel Amokachi. You can go on and on. Why did we destroy those structures? We must go back now, reflect, say to ourselves, it's time to build, and let's start discovering homegrown talents, Jeffrey.
Absolutely. You can go back to 2013 as well. In that final, it was Mba, homegrown, that actually earned us that victory. But Austin, as we wind down, people are handling this in different ways. Again, as I said, it's heartbreak for a lot of people. For some, they will brood for some time. So today is just like they are going through the emotions, and maybe tomorrow, the next, by weekend, they will get off it. For some other people, they will displace their anger. Anybody that comes at them today is in trouble, whether at work, on the road, or whatever. But some other people are attacking players like Chukwueze. I mean, yes, some others are attacking the referee. I understand they've reported his accounts. They are dragging him left, right, and center. But there are those who are attacking the players, particularly Chukwueze. Maybe we should just end on that note. We know that a lot of people have that passion for football. But how should fans handle it? Some will say, you don't have a right to tell me how to handle this. Let me deal with it myself. But really, if we want to build something, how should we handle particularly responses to players, how people speak about the players and the rest?
So we've always said it, particularly on Channel Sports, we let people understand that mental health is serious business. You don't go about hating these guys. They're humans, you know. Chukwueze didn't step up to miss the penalty. The best players in the world. In 1994, Italy was supposed to win the World Cup, but the best player then, Roberto Baggio, missed the penalty. Messi has missed the penalty. Ronaldo has missed the penalty. Tell me any top player in the world, go look at their records. They've missed penalties. I understand the fans. For the fans, they need bragging rights. We need to win. You know, they haven't seen the Super Eagles win lately, and that has put our football into a state of emergency that each time the Super Eagles come out, the fans just want them to win. We have missed the World Cup now back to back. The last time we won the AFCON was in 2013. You know, we even thought that the last time we got to the final, we were good enough to win it, and we didn't win it. That's what, you know, is getting to people, because football is such an emotional sport, and it brings out the passion in people and they express it wrongly. So everyone should calm down. The game is fair play. And in our world of sports, everyone is the winner. Everyone is a winner. These players, with everything that they've been through, from the World Cup qualifiers down to the AFCON qualifiers to this AFCON itself, they deserve our praise. They deserve our encouragement, you know. And that's what we should be doing. At the post-match conference, I asked Coach Eric Shell if he would like to continue as coach of the team. For me, I'll keep him, you know, because he's building. He's up to something. The NFL gave him a target to reach the final, and now he hasn't met that target. So they might want to jump up now and say they want to sack him, so they're going to start looking around again, and we'll start wasting money sourcing for a new coach. Fans, calm down, support your team. Hold your administrators responsible. Hold them accountable. Ask them important questions, you know. The players just go out there to execute. It is, I always say that 80%, sometimes 95% of our sporting activities, they're one back door. Administration, management, logistics, welfare, you know, all of those things that you put together, policies. That's what makes you start winning. Look at England. When was the last time they won the World Cup? They don't even care, but they control the economics of world football. Any way you want to look at it, they have positioned themselves. They own that market. Italy came out to say, even if they don't qualify for the World Cup, they don't care. That they're doing so well with the structures that they've put in place with Italian Serie A. Fans, let's channel that, not anger. Let's be responsible. Ask Ibrahim Gusso, come on, what's going on? You're almost 4 years on this job as NFF president. What are your policies? What have you done for the good of football in Nigeria? Why are we just interested in going to play competitions where there will be monies released and we're sharing and we'll carry a lot of persons out there to go and get ESTA codes? Let's start asking important questions and holding them responsible. Let's channel, that's what I'm saying, not anger. Let's own our football and ask the right questions, Coyote. I think that's what the fans should do, and we'll be fine. Football in Nigeria will rise again.
Austin, I understand that everyone is disappointed, heartbroken right now, and no one is perhaps talking about the third place match. But it was a big disappointment that, you know, we didn't win the last AFCON, even though we got to the finals. We didn't get to the World Cup. The third place match, wouldn't it be more embarrassing, beyond heartbreaking, if we don't win it? And what are your projections in that regard?
They need to take it serious, you know. Unfortunately, I spoke to about 6 players. You know, we had a private conversation, and they all said they don't want to go to Casablanca because it means we'll pack our bags again and we'll be going to Casablanca. We already settled in Rabat. We beat Morocco, and then we'll play the final in Rabat. Don't forget, after they defeated Algeria, CAF made them travel back to Fez. That was their base. They traveled back to Fez and then used road 3 hours to come back to Rabat to play that match against the host country, Morocco. That's the problem, you know. And these are the things that I'm saying fans need to know so that they don't start coming for players, forgetting that they are humans. They're not superhumans. They are normal human beings like you and I. They get tired, you know, mentally. They get stressed also. But Coach Eric said at the post-match conference, he told me, he said, look, it's not yet over. They can try to give it, you know, a consolatory finish. And that will be a beautiful game of football also. It's Nigeria versus Egypt. Egypt thought they could make it to the final too, you know, lost to Senegal by a single goal. So let's see what our boys can do. But sadly, my man of the tournament from the Super Eagles, Calvin Bassey, will miss out of that third place match. It would have been good to see him play. And let me see how CAF will not put him in the best 11 for the tournament. But the players need to stay focused, go out there, play it for themselves, play it for their families, play it for the fans, and see if they can give it a grand finish, you know, because at the end of the day, they deserve a medal on their neck, these guys. They have been warriors. They have actually come out to represent the country in our full glory, and I'm so proud of them. That little administrative gap that I always talk about, Coyote, Bukola and Jeffrey, if we were doing so well administratively, if the players didn't have to come and say, look, they've not paid us any of our bonuses or allowances, if we didn't have all of those issues, maybe everything would be just fine for us to be getting to the final and lifting this trophy again. I hope we'll learn this time around.
Absolutely, Austin. We'll move on. We'll get our acts together, hopefully, with administration. But there must be action taken, particularly for all those calls from the referee. How did Calvin Bassey get that yellow card? They were pulling his shirt. Come on. But Austin Okonakman, we have to thank you so much for sharing this very emotional conversation with us. We'll get over this and see you.
I was this close. My years of covering sport, I was this close to. I said, Austin, you can't cry, you know. I got so tired. I said, no, you cannot. You're a journalist, but come on, I had to put on my Nigeria flag. But yeah, I just hope that it is for the good of football in Africa. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Austin. So yeah, vulnerable moment right there for all of us, but we have to move on. We take a quick break now, speaking of moving on, and when we return, we'll show you how the dailies are reporting all of the big stories. Don't forget, the match happened, but there are other things playing out right now in Nigeria. So reality shock right now. Stay with us, we'll be right back.